firing as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman football. This is interesting. This is something that's gonna have the folks talking. This is something that's gonna have the folks. Woo! I did not see this coming. Let's talk about it. And put where you're from. What's your name and where you're from in the chat? What's your name and where you're from in the chat? And as people come into the room, I also want to know. It's just a yes or no question. Just a yes or no. Did Bethune make the right decision? Yes or no? Did Bethune-Cookman make the right decision by firing Ed Reed as their head football coach? Answer the questions yes or no in the chat, and we'll talk about it right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on Jeff Lightsy Jr. YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts. Now, before the bumper, I played, and we're gonna. I want to hear from you all. So there's the call-in number. You just call in whenever you feel like it. But I asked. I said, did Bethune-Cookman make the right decision by firing Ed Reed essentially before he ever coached a down, ever coached a game, ever coached? And I see some no's, some yes, yes. Yes and no. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, okay. A lot of yeses. Hell no. Yes. Heck yes. Yes. Okay. A lot of yeses. Yes or no. Just yes or no. Did they make the right decision by firing Ed Reed? And I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I'm seeing yes, they did. No, no, yes, or no, duh. Of course. I don't know. So, just if you've been living on the rock, if you don't understand what's taking place, Ed Reed was the head coach of Bethune-Cookman University. At least he was the presumed head coach of Bethune-Cookman University. Then they had came out and said they're under principle. They're negotiating the contract. He was acting as the head coach. He was going around recruiting players from California. He had big recruiting weekends, et cetera, et cetera. But what took place a little over a week ago now, about a week ago now, Ed came out, was very critical in two separate Instagram lives of not only the university, but their administration, the conditions of the university, et cetera, et cetera. He's very critical. And in that criticism of the university, he used a lot of profane language, MFers, just curse words. He used curse words. You know what I mean? And people felt how they felt about it. It was very unprofessional. It just showed no level, a sense of decorum. Since then, he has apologized about the language in the way that he went about his critique of the university, his critique of everyone there. And because of that, after that, I thought everything was good. He had showed that his buddy and fellow Miami Hurricanes alum and Pro Football Hall of Famer Edgerrin James had come down to the campus. He was showing that he had the football team and other athletes across different sports at Bethune-Cookman University out cleaning trash around the campus, picking up stuff. He had posted that video less than 24 hours ago. And just a few hours ago, he came out and said that he has been relieved of his duties as the head coach. Now, I asked, we got more people in the chat. I just asked you, as you can come in, first of all, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. Second of all, if you want to call, there's the call-in number right there, 727-731-8723, 727-731-8723. Third of all, put in the chat right now, yes or no, should Bethune-Cookman have fired Ed Reed? Yes or no, as you come into the chat, put yes or no, should they have fired Ed Reed? Now, here's my thoughts on Ed Reed and everything that took place with Bethune-Cookman. And also, don't forget, leave in the chat if you think they should have fired him. I don't think they should have fired him. I think if you was going to fire him, you should have fired him a week ago. You should have fired him right after you made the second video. Once he doubled down on the second video, if you were going to fire him, in my opinion, you should have let him go then. I don't think you allow him to have this recruiting weekend. You allow him to have Carl Reed originally reported there was 26 athletes on campus right now ready to commit. Then a coach on Reed staff came out and confirmed that there was actually 30 players on campus right now with their families right now, and you fire him on a Saturday in the middle of a recruiting weekend ahead of signing day on February 1st. I don't like that. That was not cool. I don't think. And I'm getting some answers. Yes, yes, no, yes, hell no, etc., etc. So here's my thoughts. Here's why I don't think you do that, because it's unfair to the student athletes. It's unfair to the young men who are there being recruited by Bethune-Cookman. It's unfair to the young men who have committed to Bethune-Cookman. It's unfair to the young men who are currently actively on the Bethune-Cookman football roster to think that this man was going to be their head coach. Yes, he said some things that were out of character, and I got on Ed for that. I was critical of Ed. I was like, yo, there was no sense of professionalism. There was no sense of decorum. You wouldn't have done that if it was Miami. You wouldn't have done that if there was a PWI. I was saying all of these things. But once you did not fire him after that second live, you got to let him rock. You got to let him rock, in my opinion. In my opinion, you got to let him rock. You don't let that linger for a week. Allow him to get all these recruits, get these commitments, get these different people on campus, and then pull the plug. I didn't like that at all. And I won't support that. And there was wrong done on both sides. The thing is, we got a caller. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Yes, I think they should have fired him.
Talk to me. Why is that?
Because this guy was going to continue to be a problem. You can see the attitude that he has. He was going to continue to be a problem. But they should have did it earlier. But, things don't move fast with, it don't move fast. It takes time to do things. But maybe they did it at the wrong time. But they should have, cut that right then, because this guy was going to continue to be a problem. You don't run to social media and air your laundry out like that. I mean, he went to social media too fast with the problems and everything. He should have tried to work with the university. Maybe he did, but that was still too fast to run to social media complaining and everything. And I think he was going to continue to be a problem. You can tell the way he is. He was going to be a problem. I feel sorry for him, especially at the last message that he put out, the last video. He was like he was going to cry, whatever. He probably wasn't going to cry, but he was
very emotional. He was very emotional.
Yeah, he's very emotional. He seems like he really cares about the students and everything, but he just doesn't have the the attitude that Coach Prime has, or the media savvy or whatever that Coach Prime has, and I think he should have been fired.
Okay, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you calling in. Be sure to call again. I appreciate you. No, so I mean, and that's the thing. I'm open to all. I'm not disparaging anyone. I'm just telling you how I feel, and I want to hear how you feel. Here's the thing about Ed. He handled it wrong from the jump. Yes, he should have took some notes from Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders, albeit you can feel how you want to feel about him, he had a certain level of professional decorum about him during his tenure at Jackson State. It wasn't until he had accepted the Colorado job is when you heard Deion kind of going back and forth with the Jackson State stuff. It wasn't until he had another job. Now, here's the thing about Ed. Some people will say, man, he's passionate. And this is just the pushback. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I don't really have an opinion one way or another. But they'll say, man, he's just passionate. Man, football coaches curse all the time. Man, if that was the case, Bethune's campus is messed up. They did have trash. They did have trash in his office. Y'all should be pointing the finger at Bethune and not at Ed, because there was trash in his office. And that is an interesting point. That is a point. I'm like, yo, if y'all gonna have the man on campus, why is it that he has a dirty office? Why is it that there's trash in his office? Why is it that there is is there not a maintenance budget? Right now, there was a couple of tropical storms that passed through Bethune in the last year. There was some hurricane activity that passed through Bethune in the last year. There was some special circumstances that happened at Bethune in the last year. So you can also understand that perspective. So it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. What I will say though, is that all of this really could have been avoided if Ed doesn't make those Instagram lives. If Ed doesn't make those 2 Instagram lives. That's not to say that he was wrong. It's just a certain level of professional decorum that you have to have. I just believe that. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, man, this is George Henry, man.
What's going on, George? What's on your mind?
Hey, it's kind of interesting down here at BCU, man. I'm the ex-tennis coach and tennis director here.
Okay.
And before Ed and, a lot of the coaches left when Reggie Theus came in, man. And there's a lot going on. I actually resigned in July. I had a Title IX complaint against the school, and nothing ever happened with it. And, so really, I think this is something that just hit its head, really. Somebody like Ed Reed who can bring attention to the school and expose a lot of things. There needs to be change. So I'm all for it. I actually stayed, and I was also working on a master's in organizational leadership, and ended up graduating in December. And I did a thesis on the tennis team here, and it was just kind of messed up. It's not only football and basketball; all the sports at HBCUs is suffering.
I understand, man. I appreciate you
I
calling
want
in.
to help bring light to it.
Okay.
So,
I appreciate you calling in, man. We got some other callers, but I appreciate it. Let's just see what I'm just curious. You guys call in. There's the number on the screen. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, this is KJ. Just thought I'd call in really quickly and address some of the comments that I see in the chat. And I see these comments pretty consistently from people saying, hey, I would never I don't think I could ever send my kids to an HBCU now, blah, 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 blah. Look, you all need to do some research and stop speaking so ignorantly in this chat. It's clear you don't really know very much about the value of HBCUs. You can look this up and stop sounding so stupid. Do you know that HBCU grads on average far out earn the average PWI Black graduate in this country year after year? Go look it up. It's McKinsey-based research that you can look up that came out last year. Do you know that HBCUs graduate the majority of PhDs, STEM, doctors, lawyers? I am one of them. My brother is a doctor that graduated. Both of us graduated from Jackson State University, and we are doing damn well with our degrees. So if you don't want to send your children to HBCUs based upon what is going on at a football program with 2 celebrity coaches, then you are foolish. But stop saying that ignorance in the chat if you don't know about the value and the value proposition of historically Black colleges and universities. This is all out there for you to look up and research. Stop speaking so ignorantly. Now on to Ed Reed.
Yes.
Ed Reed did this to himself. There is no way in the professional world, and I work in corporate America as a director and attorney for a Fortune 100 retailer. There is no way you get a job that you don't do the background for. It's clear you never went to the campus. You never really fully immersed yourself in the issues or what BCU had going on. And I don't know what conversations they had with Ed Reed, but it's clear that due diligence was not done in that situation. Ed Reed was looking for an opportunity to be a head coach. And let's be honest, to jump the line like Deion did. They both wanted to jump the line. They did not want to do the normal paying our dues, working our way through the ranks that you do in college football. If you want to be a coach, you go be an analyst, you go do this, you go do that. Ed Reed had not coached anywhere. He did not even coach in Miami. That's not the position that he had in Miami. And they wanted to skip steps and jump the line. So you were looking for an opportunity that only an HBCU was going to provide you. And then you did not do your due diligence. And then you got online on social media, and you called that university, you called those administrators MFers. I guess BCU just said, we ain't going to be too many MFers today. I guess that's what happened. Now, they should have made that decision. I agree with you. They should have made that call immediately after he did what he did, because to me, he just did not show a level of professionalism that he should have shown. But I will also say this. I don't think BCU was ever in a position internally, knowing what they have going on with their board, knowing what you have going on with your alumni association, the debt and all the problems that you have. I don't think the university ever should have gone after a celebrity of that magnitude to be their football coach. You have so many other things that need help, that need your attention, and bringing in a celebrity like that, someone who is not of the HBCU community, who does not understand those problems, who does not have that level of sophistication to even speak about those things, which, let's be clear also for you all in the chat, Ed Reed interviewed for the Jackson State University position. Ed Reed wanted that position post Deion. So while you're talking about, he was right, Deion was right, this, that, and the other, Ed Reed doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's going off conversation that he's had with Deion Sanders, and you really need to stop it. If Jackson State University wanted to hire Ed Reed would have taken that position because he was looking to jump the line and skip steps. Now, if you don't want that benefit of skipping steps, then wait your turn. Go to a PWI. Go through your alumni networks and work your way up the ranks and wait for them to offer you the opportunity. But you know they're not going to offer you the opportunity.
We got some more callers. I love what you're saying. We got some more callers. I just want you to land it and just get your final thoughts. I appreciate it.
I wanted to correct a few things.
Okay. I got you. I appreciate you so much calling. Be sure to call again for sure. Thank you. Ooh, yeah, she got right with the Lord with a lot of people on that one. Ooh, what's going on? You're on with Jeff.
What's going on, Jeff?
What's going on? What's on your mind, boss man?
This is Cal from Mississippi. Well, this is a bad look on multiple people's accounts. Bethune and Ed Reed.
Talk to me.
First off, obviously, Ed Reed needs to have more impact going forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be blasting an institution like that. You know what I'm saying? You can do it tactfully. Now, as far as Bethune, let's read bad on him. Somebody has trash in his office and considering the man that stepped down. Now, the next coach coming in, I would have second thoughts about trying to go to Bethune. Like, wait a minute now.
Yeah. No, that's real. Calvin, I can barely hear you, man. If you can cut your volume up a little bit, I can barely hear you.
Hold on a second.
But just to, as you get that adjusted, just to go off what you're saying, yes, that's why this tenure is going to it's a negative on both ends. But continue what you were saying, Calvin. I think we're gonna have to have you call back, Calvin. Can't really hear what you're saying. But let just to build off what Calvin was saying, and thanks. First of all, thank you for all. If you want to call in, there's a number on the screen. Continue to hit that thumbs up button. I think here's why it's bad. Because you're going here, and I was telling She Loves D, I was over on her live earlier, and shout out to Timona, She Loves D. Go be sure to go subscribe to her podcast. But on that, I was saying that there's a couple of things at play here. One, there's the HBCU community are going to feel like, I can't even think the lady's name that just called in, but she had a word to say. And an overwhelming majority of people are going to feel like her. But the national perception is going to be like, Bethune dropped the ball. Bethune is the people at fault here. Bethune are the people who did wrong here. Bethune is the ones who actually fired Ed Reed and didn't put him in the position to have success. Bethune needs to take some blame here. That's what the overwhelming position is going to be in the masses at large, and that does nothing for HBCUs. That does not help HBCUs in the right. When you have Ed Reed continuing to say, Deion was right, Deion was right, Deion was right, what he's saying is that Deion is right in saying that HBCUs aren't the place to be. That as soon as you get a chance, you need to move on. And that does not help the plight of historically black colleges and universities. That is working in the negative and not in the positive. And so therefore, in the 25 days that Ed Reed was at Bethune-Cookman,
from Connecticut.
Hold on, Anthony, 1 second. You got to cut your computer down a little bit for me too. But that works in the negative and not in the positives. Talk to me, Anthony. What's on your mind?
Matt, you actually just nailed what I was saying. I'm calling from Connecticut, and I love hearing you guys, people from the South, talk about these topics. Here, people follow the narratives of, like you just said, the celebrities. They will go with whatever misinformation. So I like that woman who just spoke and what you just said. That perfectly describes why it's dangerous for these institutions like BCU to hire that type of person. So with that, I'm going to let it roll because you said it all.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man, because it's true. It's going to, and I appreciate you calling in, man. It's going to do more hurt than help. It's going to do more hurt than help. And as I was so excited for this Ed Reed tenure, it actually is working in the negative, not just for Bethune, but in the grand national media, it will generalize all HBCUs, and it works in the net negative for all of them. Now, what Ed did do, though, now I don't like the way he went about it, but he did point out some flaws at Bethune. Now, he did go out there and say Bethune has an athletic director that doubles as the head basketball coach. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Bethune-Cookman's athletic director is also the head basketball coach. That is a problem. We cannot act like that is normal. That's not normal. These are two totally separate jobs. These are two jobs that require two different people. These are two. I mean, these aren't easy jobs. These aren't things that you can do fly by night jobs. These aren't jobs that you can half ass. That is a problem, and Ed called it out. And that he is right. That needs to be fixed and addressed. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
What's on? This is Theodore from Connecticut.
What's going on, boss man? What's on your mind?
Bottom line is we got to start thinking about replacing these organizations back in the idea of the academic side. And bringing in these large individuals just hurts the overall perspective, which is we cannot compete with.
Does it hurt? I don't mean to cut you off, but why do you think it hurts the overall perspective? This Ed Reed is totally different than what happened with Deion, but just explain that to me.
I just think that ultimately, when we talk about the national narrative, a lot of what we're talking about is folks discovering us from an athletic perspective. Well, that's not really what our institutions are all about anymore. The D1, the 5-star athletes has left our institutions already, but our academics are still very, very, very strong. Mm-hmm. We've got to get back to letting the world know that's really what we're about.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, why not do both? Why can't you have both? Why can't you have 5-star athletes as well as 5-star, institution leaders and 5-star teachers and professors and 5-star students? Why can't you have both?
I wish we would, but ultimately the academics, the economics of it is really the issue. We're struggling to keep up our institutions, just keeping them running in as a whole.
I agree.
And we got to pick places where we're going to put this money and make this be relevant. We're not really dealing with the narratives that should be promoted, and as a result, Ed Reed's story becomes the story of our institutions.
But why is the Ed Reed story a story? Because Ed Reed, you talk about those lack of resources. Could Ed Reed not have helped bring some more resources to Bethune-Cookman? I mean, Ed Reed there was 2 Hall of Famers walking around Bethune-Cookman's campus 2 days ago when it was Ed Reed and Edgerrin James. You don't think that they have a network of resources that they can help bring to their university? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can do both. You don't have to choose one or the other. Like, Deion did both. Deion had a number of organizations, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 corporations that donated a ton of money to Jackson State that would have never been there if it weren't for him. And so I think Ed Reed, albeit he's not Deion, could have done something similar. That's why I'm saying, like, you could do both. It just takes the initiative to want to do both. I got some more calls though, man, but I appreciate you calling in.
Good call. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, I mean, I'm not saying, like, in no way am I defending everything that Ed did, but I think you could do both. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. What's going on, man?
What's on your mind? Boss man?
Well, in regards to Ed Reed, man, it's quite unfortunate. I'm a Florida boy myself. I actually live in Polk County, Florida, actually where Kamani lives.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
Yes, sir. He's actually a phenomenal athlete.
Nah, he's
in any case, that's not for the call today. As far as with Ed Reed, man, it upset me. I saw that this morning, and I saw the other 2 IGs that he put up and stuff. And I'll be honest, at least in my opinion, I feel like as far as with Ed Reed, just like a lot of people say, he should have looked up, XYZ about the campus, that he didn't go there first. The same thing could possibly be said about the university, because it's obvious that, they want to talk to change. They definitely need change, just like, Colorado or JSU did at their time. Respectfully, so they haven't, been a top-rated team or university there for a long time. Trust me, as a guy growing up in Florida, that Bethune, that's one a must see. Let me say, yeah. That's the one a lot of people anticipate out here, especially from HBCUs, and that level of competition, it's been truly one-sided for at least over the last half a decade plus. And, a lot of people want change, but they don't understand what change looks like sometimes. And maybe the change that it just didn't come in the right package for them.
Absolutely, man.
Ed Reed, he's a phenomenal coach. He's definitely an awesome individual. And just from his emotions, you can see it in his, through his talk, his speech, that kind of emotion. If I'm looking at it, even on the outside perspective, I don't think this is going to be the end of the road for Ed Reed. This might be just the beginning. There's somebody down there, some university looking, and they see that love and that passion. There's some other people out there that's looking at this, and they're going to say, we need that guy. It's unfortunate that Bethune-Cookman can't see that right now. They're probably, honestly, it looks, in my opinion, I feel like it really does look actually worse on the university than it does Ed Reed. Because this really makes me ask any more questions. Did you do your homework for the people that you saw fit for your university? Number two, the stuff that happened prior that he's exposing, are you guys okay with it? Or were you truly trying to make changes toward positive? Did you just want to make it look like it? You know, a lot of people, they want to kind of show like, okay, we're making these changes, but changes doesn't really happen. It's just more less to appease the people. Absolutely. So what level of commitment did they truly have? Because obviously this comes from a level of commitment. Ed Reed, honestly, I can tell he's already 100% in. He's invested his time without even being on contract. He's been invested his time. He has his nephew, like he was saying down there already. Yeah. He has recruits coming that's helping him pick up trash. So on his end, I can see a level of commitment and determination. But what really level of commitment did Bethune-Cookman put towards him already? Besides a trash on his thing, canceling, according to him, canceling, scouting opportunities and things like this. It's two different level of, communication.
Yeah, it's different. Let me we gotta get some other folks on here, man. But I appreciate it. No, it's the full call line. We gotta crying baby. But I understand what he's saying, man. It's going to be interesting to watch how some of this plays out. What's going on, man? You're on with Jeff.
Jeremy.
What's going on, Jeremy? What's on your mind?
Not much, Jeff. Once again, I like your show, man. I love you. My thing is like Eddie Jordan was alluding to. There's a lot of those HBCUs still ain't got their land grant money. Like Prairie, for instance. Yeah. They get all the money they supposed to got. And see, like I was telling people, you look at them HBCU and you always talking about why they can't compete and all that. When Third Good and them went to school and set separate but equal, nobody never did go back and sue for the equal part. That's why Colorado on facilities up like they are. And so, what other employer you can cuss out on a job, expect to still have your job? And another thing,
that's understandable.
Why Ed he wanted the Miami job, everybody know that. He did Bethune-Cookman good, then maybe he'll get a Power 5 job. That's all those jobs are, the HBC. Their heart's not really in that though. That's all I want to say, Joe. I love you, man. Keep doing it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And that goes to the stepping stone thing. But in all reality, it's like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That's a totally different question. Oh, man, we got a bunch of calls. Let me see if I can remember who was first. We got a bunch of people. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, by the way. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing? I'm glad to see that you on it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
But yeah, what I wanted to say, I'm so elated that they got rid of him. It sets a precedent that when you come into a job, no matter what you think about the job, you need to respect the history that's there. You need to respect the administration. How are you going to be able to make deals? How are you going to be able to get the administration on you to support you on your endeavors if you cursing them out and without doing the research, already assuming that it's because of them that this problem exists and that problem exists? Like a caller you had on one day, the young lady who was doing a PhD. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of people who are there for the right reason. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, with what she stood for, does not align with how he acted. And I saw a quick video. I'm gonna keep it short. I saw a quick video where he was Prime was on it too, was on the call or whatever.
Yes.
And he was talking and he was saying that they thought they had a dumb job. I'm sorry, I don't know the brother. I wish him the best. But the way he acted, like a dumb job. And so it's like what he stood for and what Bethune is trying to do, whether they're there or not, does not align. And these institutions, HBCUs are academic institutions. Yes. As far as football goes, they could shut that down. Because that's not the focus. The focus, football is an accessory. It is important.
I get that part, but that's a bad way of looking at it. And I appreciate you calling, but we got a full call on. But I appreciate you calling in, boss man.
No problem.
It's looking at football as a luxury and not as a necessity. I don't think that's the right way of thinking, because football can bring you millions of dollars. Universities across this country are funded through the athletics. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. My name is Benita.
How you doing, Miss Benita?
I'm good. I was calling because I've been offended by some of the comments made about HBCUs. One in particular, the whole idea of Black men and women saying, I've never even heard of an HBCU. It's embarrassing for us as a people. Or people saying, oh, HBCUs, they're rooting for our failure. Like, white institutions don't close. My brother attended a PWI on football scholarship, and it closed. So what's happening at HBCUs or some of our HBCUs is not unique. White institutions have issues just like we have. The only difference is they have wealth, and wealth covers a multitude of things.
You're right about that.
In America. So, and another issue, this may, in terms of Ed, which I like Ed Reed, but this may have potentially hurt his hiring potential at any football program in the country, the way he handled this situation. And also, I wanted to make a comment in terms of the abandonment of Black athletes from leaving HBCUs to go to PWIs. The University of Miami's football program is younger than FAMU's program, and younger than probably Bethune-Cookman's program. But they didn't have all the facilities, but Black men in the state of Florida decided through recruiting efforts they're going to attend that university, and they helped build that program, which ultimately led to them becoming top in the nation, which ultimately led to them getting funds, getting television contracts, which ultimately led them to build buildings on their campuses. Absolutely. So if you leave our institutions to help somebody else build their wealth, and then you come back home and you look, well, this is wrong, what do you expect? You left us. So it's time for everybody to come home and really we need to do an in-depth analysis on how do we love our communities? Do we love Black people as Black people? Because the comments that I'm hearing from Black Americans, it's really saddening and disheartening, particularly the ones that's coming from Black men.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having the show.
Hey, it's no problem. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, man, it's a varying opinions on the Ed Reed situation. I want to get to them all, or as many as possible. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
It's time for
everybody
to come home and really.
Oh, this is Kay.
What's going on, Kay? Cut your computer down in the background to let me know what's on your mind.
All right. I just got a few things to say. Like,
talk to me.
I understand that like he was very like unprofessional with the way he displayed it, but I seen it as frustration because like even all across like college sports, you don't see college coaches like having to wait multiple weeks on getting their contract finalized. And with the way the transfer portal is right now, the way college recruiting is, you hear it all talked about just college sports overall. How coaches are like frustrated with the way like college recruiting is right now. And Ed was trying to just get in the door so that way he can get a step up on getting players in there to help like build his program. That's how I saw it.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you calling in, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man. And what I will say is that the contract wasn't signed because Ed hadn't signed it. I will say that. And he gave his reasons
David McClain.
What's going on, David? What's on your mind?
Well, I thought Ed Reed was a good choice, but his reaction to the comments from when he said he felt like what Dion was saying about HBCUs, I thought he should have been a little bit more mature about it, but in the end, I felt the school made the right choice because he didn't sign the contract, first of all. So he really wasn't engaged enough as an employee. But overall, I just want to say that, Jeff, I like everything that you're doing. I support your show 100%. I did join your channel. So I think they need to reach out and try to find someone else who wants to stay and see the school grow. I don't want it to be another Deion Sanders situation.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you so much, man. But I appreciate it. Thank you for all your support.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man. Nah, I'm here to listen to the people. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, this is Musa.
What's going on, Musa? What's on your mind?
Sorry about that. I got a cold. No, I was just going to call in. I don't know if people ever heard of me, but I played at FBS at Temple, but I started out at Grambling just as a prerequisite. Just to give a heads up, I think that every hire was a good hire. I don't think this instance calls for him to be fired. I think it could have been a sit down and a requisition. He did put out a letter, I know. And I know a lot of insider HBC people were upset, and there's always extreme people that feel like, oh, you do something wrong, you can them. But where's, like at a job, if you mess up the first time, you get a corrective action. So I think it could have been a corrective action, because on a global scale, people always take the side of the bigger star. Now, and this is one thing that I wanted to make a point. A brother called in about, he was calling about why we are academic institutions prestigiously, but the reason for athletics, to break it down very simple, athletics is your advertising department. That's how you advertise your school. Even to the students, there's people that go to Michigan and all these big universities just because of football game, because they see it. The more you see something, the better it is. I'm sure as a person that might be better than LeBron James, but we'll never know him because he's not on the global scale. So athletics is used as your advertising to the world. And I think a lot of HBC people, we stuck in our mindset, and we think that, oh, well, you can't get with us, then you got to go. So that's just something to think about for the future. Hopefully somebody else will come in, and this will be a learning experience.
I hope so, man. Appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the perspective. Take care. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, this is Mr. Ford. Can you hear me?
Mr. Ford, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, let me turn my stuff down. Hold on. I know you can. Hey, this is Mr. Ford. Can you hear me? Yeah, I just wanted to say I want Bethune-Cookman to look inward and get some of their own people. They have produced quality people. If you want to get a pro player to be over your program, how about Rasheem Mathis? If you want somebody that's been active in college football, how about Alan Super? You turned out people. You don't have to go outside your school to get, outside of your family. So that's what I want to say about the whole thing is, I ain't going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. It pissed me off when I heard it last week, what he said about Bethune-Cookman. I'm not a Bethune-Cookman graduate, but my family always had a lot of respect for that school. And, listen, my mama was a member of the National Women's Negro Council. And you know who started that, right?
I do not.
Mary McLeod Bethune.
Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't want to say it wrong, but
he started that. So let me just tell you now, Bethune. Like I said, I'm a Grambling graduate. I'm a Clark, what you call Clark Atlanta, and that was Clark College when I was there. I was that's my school, but we always had a tremendous amount of respect for Mary McLeod Bethune and for Bethune-Cookman. But anyway, I'm just saying to the alumni down there, you got people that you have produced. Rasheem Mathis can take that job. Alan Super can take that job. And I know you got a lot of calls. I ain't going to hold you up in that. Okay, have a great one here.
I appreciate it, Mr. Ford. Thank you as always. Now, we got several real heavy in here. I just want everybody to do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and share this broadcast. Share this broadcast with anyone you think may be interested in this type of conversation. We're talking about Ed Reed. He's been let go of his duties as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
What's going on, man? Glad to be on. So my question is, if they never ratified the contract, how did he get fired from the position? I don't think he ever had a position, did he?
Well, he's going on and he's saying he got fired. He said they want them to say that he stepped down. I use the word fired because he's being relieved of his duties, whether it's, he signed a contract or not. He's been the acting head coach. He's been giving out offers, taking commitments, showing people around campus. So that sounds like a head coach to me. So that's just the way that I framed it.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. So my understanding is that he, because he's actually a state employee, and it's a contract position. If he never had a contract and he never actually was acting in the position of the coach, I don't know what else he was doing. And so I just think it was unfortunate the way he kind of got ahead of himself without having a contract in place. So I don't think that's an HBCU issue. I just think him not really understanding procedure to where you probably don't do certain things until you got a contract in place then now you got some kind of foundation. But if you're just doing stuff with no contract, then essentially you put yourself in a position to work for free.
It's a valid point, man. That is a valid point. I appreciate you calling in, man. We got some more callers, but I appreciate it. It's very valid.
Be easy.
Be easy too, man. I mean, that's true. When you're working without a contract, it makes things like this a whole lot easier. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I mean, I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong, but it's just the truth. What's going on in your room with Jeff?
Hey, this is Kenneth Bordier. Can you hear me?
What's going on, Kenneth? What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm giving you a call because I went to a HBCU. I went to Tuskegee University, and I started watching your show, and I really started paying attention to what Deion Sanders was doing at Jackson State, and I thought it was a wonderful thing. And I thought that more of the star football players should do what Deion did. And so I thought that Deion Sanders kind of used Jackson State as a stepping stone, but I didn't really see that as a problem. I thought it was mutually beneficial, to both of them.
Yes.
And even if they do that and use them as a stepping stone, I think the HBCUs can benefit from that. And when I first saw that Ed Reed was taking the job at Bethune-Cookman, I was a great thing, and I hope that he would have a similar impact as Deion did at Jackson State. But I would say that I've looked at the things that Ed Reed posted, and my opinion is just that I think Ed Reed, the only criticism I can give is I think he does need to be a little bit more professional with it. I think he started blasting Bethune a little too early. And if I look at what Deion was critical of Jackson State also, but he waited. He didn't do it immediately.
It's on his way out the door.
Invested. It was. And by the time he was on his way out the door, he had done so much for the university that he earned the right to criticize. Whereas Ed Reed sort of did it, right off the bat. And I think that he could have took a more professional stance. He could have, been a little bit better there. And I think that they would have actually hired him. And I think he could have had an impact. And I think at the end of it, he could have, say similar things that Deion Sanders said, but I think it could have made a positive impact on Bethune-Cookman too. And I just hope I saw what I think it's Eddie George is doing at Tennessee State. I would hope that more of the athletes would do that for our institutions. I went to Tuskegee, and I know how that is. But yeah, that's all I want to say. I think that Ed Reed, my criticism of him is that he could have been more professional, especially in the beginning. He could have won the hearts of the people over more, and I think he could have gotten more done at the school than the approach he took.
I agree, man. I appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate the time. No, I completely agree with that, man. That's why I don't think the timing was right. I said that earlier, and if you're just now tuning in, we're talking about Ed Reed. He's been relieved of his duties as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman football. What's going on, Jeremy? What's on your mind?
Yeah, Jeff, maybe you can help me out on this one. Now, I'm asking a question. It's 107 HBCU, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yes.
And most of them all in the black community, right?
Absolutely.
Why they don't own no real estate around the black community they in?
I can't answer those questions. I'm not in administration, and I'm not saying that they don't. I mean, I feel like some of them do. Do they not? Do they not own the property that they're on?
I know they own the property. I'm talking about like around the school. Why don't know help? Like what the school says, like in the community, like Jackson State in the school. Why they don't have like a Jackson State grocery store?
Where are we going with this? Where are we going with this though?
My question is that will help build up the infrastructure and the school.
Well. Now we're getting into institutional racism though. We can't act like this country hasn't purposely held back.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
we're gonna get into that weeds. It's a whole different can of weeds we talking about here.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is like a lot we can do to help ourselves. Like they got like a lot of these alumni, not alumni. They got alumni and all these fraternities. Why they don't help build up around there? That's what I'm saying. They come to school and do step shows. That's why they can't buy properties around the campus. That's all I'm asking.
I got you, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Jeff. I love you, man. You do a good job.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we can't get into that because we know how institutionalized racism works. We can't act like this country hasn't done that to black people and black institutions for the entire existence of this country. So let's not do that. We talking about Ed Reed though. We're talking about Ed Reed. He's been relieved of his duties as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman. I want to get you guys' opinion in here. Be sure to hit that like button. What's going on? You're on with Jeff. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on with Jeff.
Hello?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, what's on your
was
mind?
just to the show to make a point. Say like everybody worrying about how Ed Reed not being professional, but what's the people who running the school being professional? Does the school look professional? Like people not focusing on that point, they just focusing on Ed Reed should be professional. And I think that's one of the biggest problems of why the school in the situation it's in at the moment.
That's a valid point, man. That's valid, man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, keep up the good work, man.
Man, I appreciate it, dog. Thank you. No, I mean that's true. Like they were wrong on both sides. Don't trust me. We have to we holding Ed Reed's feet to the fire, but we also holding Bethune-Cookman accountable for some of this. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
It's Rashad. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's on your mind, Rashad? What's on your mind?
How you doing, Jeff? Man, my name is Rashad McNeil. I got a quick little line for you now.
Talk to me.
Played at Central Michigan under Brian Kelly. I left there. A lot of my friends I grew up with in Miami played at HBCUs. I went to South Carolina State under head coach Buddy Pugh. There's a lot going on at these schools that if you know, you know. But just like our family, we keep a lot of things in-house. And sometimes when we do that, we end up never resolving the issue. The issue just prolongs until something happens to the point to where you look up, you won't have a program. The administration needs to get it together for these kids who are flying in for recruiting visits and everything. You're telling these kids to cancel everything the moment they get off the plane. You cannot do that to these kids, man. It's the kids. Now, whether Ed was being professional or not, I want to know what was Reggie Theus doing. If he done been a few places now and hasn't been able to figure it out. Now you in Florida. I'm a Miami kid. You at Bethune. I got family that graduated from Bethune. This is a hot subject. I don't know what's going on at Bethune, but it's also showing on the field. Every year there's a classic, and we know that classic generates a crazy amount of money.
Yes.
What are y'all doing with that money that the track team can't properly have somewhere to practice? If that money's going to the general college fund, why have not those kids been able to benefit from that? When Bethune or FAM go play these big schools with what it was when I think FAM went and go play North Carolina and they only had so many amount of players.
The compliance officer, they had guys that weren't in compliance because of lack of compliance officers at the university. Yes.
That game shouldn't have happened. But for the money, everybody went and played, right or wrong.
Right. No, you're right. You're right.
So we're putting these kids in danger for the money, and they're not seeing the benefits of that. There's no way at Bethune-Cookman that track team should be coming in to practice with a track like that with a one-way script. Come on, man. Where that money at, Reggie Theus? You done been a few places, and it hasn't been good. Now you in Bethune, because we know if you at an HBCU, and if you down with the get down, you could be quiet, high. It won't nobody say nothing because everybody got their hands in. Y'all have a great day, Jeff. I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate
Go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs, man. But I appreciate it. He brought us some valid points that I will not argue. What's going on? You're on with Jeff. And if you want to call in here, I'll put the number back on the screen. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, this is Joshua. This is Joshua from Georgia.
What's going on, Joshua? What's on your mind, man?
Hey, man. So basically, not really a problem with Ed. My whole issue is with the whole HBCU the whole HBCU is
talk to me.
How is it from Jackson State? Let's just put Jackson State, and I'm gonna go through with Ed Reed. So basically, Dion's basically pushing just this easy food. Let's get these guys just the names on the back of the jersey. Just easy, simple. My thing, just easy, simple things to just normal. I think Ed Reed is talking about dirty buildings, dirty facilities. I just think it's more about HBCUs need to get their things together than more about Ed Reed. That's just how I feel.
Okay, man. Appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it. But Ed Reed still had, he still didn't go about it the best of ways. That's the only thing. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Brandon.
What's going on, Brandon? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm the Wildcat that called you the day he got hired when you did your live. And
okay.
Basically, I kind of got mixed emotions about it. I'm really devastated about the team that he was about to build. That's kind of the greatest loss to me because if you notice the recruits he had, we were going to get back to that rugged MEAC play that we were known for when we were on top of the food chain. So I don't think all hope is lost. We don't know what else they'll do. We didn't see Ed Reed coming, so we don't know who else will come. So I'm not going to lay down just yet, but I will say in all the talks, I hear a lot of people talking about, what he said was true, and the school needs to do better and all this. As an alumni, I grew up as a Wildcat. My parents went there, met there, got married. I've been there all 34 years of my life. Mm-hmm. The alumni has been struggling with the board for years. There was even a lawsuit. The Alumni Association sued the Board of Trustees to try to get more transparency to what's going on. So I feel like a lot of people really underestimate when we're on the ground the fight that we're having, and I think that Ed did that as well. He did not have the right. He had not earned his stripes yet to talk about my school like that publicly. He had not done that. He had not won a game. He had not even officially got under contract. That was not the time or the place. And if he would have tapped into the alumni, if he would have tapped into the bloodline of the school, I think he would have found much more support than he thought. It wasn't a good move. It wasn't a good look. I feel like people who congratulate him for speaking out, even if it was true, you all act like you never heard the concept of family business. I'm not talking about sweeping things under the rug, but there are certain things that you handle with in-house, and then when you out to the world, you put on a united front. Siblings can fight all day, and as soon as somebody from next door come and try one, they band together. That's how you do that. You don't get on the social media talk about, I'm out here picking up trash. And I don't know what was behind that, but I'll just let you know. In all my 34 years of living, I've never seen that campus be trashed. I know that we did just come through 2 hurricanes. We are fighting to get states to help us come through stuff. So that could be what he's talking about. But to me, he put out the image that you go to Bethune-Cookman, it's like a trash all over the floor. Excuse my language. But
it's kind of the way. I'm gonna get to some more callers, man. But I appreciate you. Calling in, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. No, that's true. And first impressions for a lot of people are everything, and that matters. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, what's happening, Jeff? This is Jalen, man, from Bowling Green.
What's going on, Jalen, boss man? What's on your mind?
Man, first of all, I appreciate you for continue covering HBCU sports. In regards to this whole Ed Reed thing, man, I just now heard about it. Seemed that he's I guess fired or didn't get to take the job.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like, I'm not a BCU alumni thing, but I do feel like both sides probably could have handled the whole situation better. Of course, I feel like, Ed Reed probably could have went about his grievances in a different way. And of course, BCU probably has their own things to fix and things like that. But I do hope that, both sides still kind of come up. I still love to see Ed Reed, coach at HBCU one day.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't this whole thing doesn't taint that. And I hope, it's best for Bethune-Cookman as well. So I kind of just hate that it happened, but hopefully both sides can still grow from this,
Absolutely, Jalen, man. I completely agree with you, man. Appreciate you calling in, buddy.
Definitely, man. Keep doing your thing, bro.
I appreciate it. Jalen also is an HBCU graduate of Kentucky State University. Shout out to the Thoroughbreds. Now, yeah, like you said, man, I definitely think there's things to be learned on both sides. This was Ed's statement. If you're looking at the screen, this is his statement that he said after he was relieved of his duties. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Okay, how you been, man? How you been?
Hey, I'm been all right. What's on your mind?
Good. This is what's on my mind, and I just really had to keep it real.
Talk to me.
I love our people, but this has nothing to do with Bethune-Cookman. Come on, we got to keep it real.
Talk to me.
The brother didn't say that he did not build up any equity in the place, in the student body, in the community. He ain't Dion. He ain't Prime. Prime did a whole lot internally before he even whispered what was going wrong at Jackson State. I don't think the brother really wanted to do it. And so he self-exploded because anything, see, my acronym for blame is being lame about my own errors. So I can't put his errors on Bethune-Cookman, just like I can't put Bethune-Cookman's on him. They're the institution. He came in to be able to do a thing. It's your responsibility to survey a place before you even decide you want it. And then once you decide to be a part of the crew, then it's your responsibility to see how can I build some equity in the people, in the community, in the banks, in the companies to make this thing like I like. You don't get on there on blast. He would have never done it to a white school. Nick Saban, we know if Nick Saban had came there, they would have had that place spotless. So we already understand the black and white game. You already understand that they would treat him like they would treat different. But you don't come in there blasting the people and then expecting them to rally around you to support you because you killed it. You killed it because loose lips sinks ships. And he did that. And I think he did it because I don't think he realized once he got there, he ain't Prime. He don't have that charisma. Prime got a resume outside of playing in the NFL and in Major League Baseball. It's just as big as what he did in pro sports. Half the people don't even know Ed Reed before he even got there, who are not in the NFL and in football. So he didn't build anything up. He tore it down himself because nobody don't even know if he's sleeping in the car eating out of the Waffle House. Let's keep it real. He looks bad. He ain't got it together in terms of how his appearance is. We loving him because he's a Hall of Famer NFL. That's why we love him. But his ability to do what he needed to do to create what he could have created was on him, not on Bethune-Cookman. He didn't romance the place at all. He came in saying, look, you ugly, you fat, you ain't got no clothes. You asked for the date. So if you ask for a date with a girl and you know she big, don't get her in the street and insult her and call her a big fat woman and you ask for the date. So I lit into him a couple of times, on the comments. But I mean, this was him because now he back in his car eating chili cheese dog out the back seat. You can't step in there. Prime didn't do that. Prime for his family, his kids, his resume, his smile. He just everything in a bag of chips. So when he speaks, everybody shifts. But this brother didn't give himself 4 months, 6 months, 1 season. He killed all the recruits he could have got because he was Ed Reed. What parents was going to want to? I mean, this is his. See, people, maturity is laying the blame right on the person and not using something else to be able to justify why they fouled up. Because any white school he'd went to, they would have did it. Any NFL team that did, they would have cut him loose. Anyway, he'd have gone for anything. You can't step in there. You got to step in there with love and say, now, how can I make these people flow like I want them to flow? Just like Dion did. He didn't do that. He failed at that miserably, and that's why he got to kick rocks. That's my thing, man.
I appreciate you calling.
And I'm an HBC graduate, so I know how crazy it is.
Yes, sir.
But that still does not unleash. That don't unleash the stupidity because they crazy.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you calling in.
You understand?
Yes,
My
sir.
man.
I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much, man. We loved it. I appreciate it. Be sure to call again.
Okay, I sure will. Please.
Yes, sir.
My
Thank
man.
you. Peace. No, I mean, he dropped it like out on us, y'all. Keep them coming. Call in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button too, by the way. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I've been following this story, and everyone that had an opinion seems to not be a student of Bethune-Cookman University. And as a student of Bethune-Cookman University, these are all things that we have discussed to the school many times before. Us staying quiet and keeping things in-house gets nothing done. What Ed Reed said needed to be said. And that's as simple as that.
And now, let me ask you, you are an active student of Bethune-Cookman? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and we all stand with Ed Reed. Everywhere on our social media, everywhere, we're on his side because we have been saying many of these things and many worse things behind closed doors, but nothing gets done.
And so since we got you on here, let me just ask you a few questions. When you saw the Ed Reed video, what was your and your reaction and like the campus's reaction? What was kind of the reaction from his first couple of videos when he was kind of criticizing Bethune?
None of us took offense because this is things we say every day on a day-to-day basis. I felt like the whole campus with student body anger was embedded into Ed Reed at that moment. He was basically our mouth at that moment because literally no one on campus, well, I wouldn't say no one, but it was only a small amount of people on campus that disagreed with what he said and how he said it. Because we've tried to send emails, they get ignored. We try to talk to some of the administrators, they brush us off, they tell us lies. So what are we supposed to do? Just continue so they can treat us the same way.
And did you feel like that voice, someone like an Ed Reed with a voice as big as his, do you think that would have led to positive things for Bethune-Cookman, for the student body at large? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I see that he's going into the right direction, even though he might have said it in a very harsh way, but you can see the passion in his face, in his emotions, that he was going to take the school in the right direction.
Well, man, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation all the way around. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, man, from the boots on the ground from Bethune-Cookman as a student, man. So I appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck in your academic ventures.
You too. Thank you. I
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Ooh, that is interesting to hear that the student body was behind Coach Ed Reed. That's interesting. That says a lot. That says a lot. From that call, I think we can learn a lot because he said, yo, these are grievances that we've had as students and they've ignored us. So Ed Reed was essentially the voice for a voiceless is kind of what he said. And how do you feel about that? Does that change your opinion at all? I don't know. It might change mine. I don't know. Who knows? What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. How are you? This is Shaquita from Chicago.
How you doing, Miss Shaquita? What's on your mind?
I feel like they shouldn't have fired him. I feel like they kind of reacted. They were too reactive, like emotionally. I feel like they kind of felt embarrassed because too many people was talking about it. Too many people like just gave their input on it, and instead of them, I think they should have had a meeting with him. With the board, the higher ups, everybody involved had a meeting and sat down and spoke with him, and they could have worked whatever situation worked that whole situation out. I do feel like he reacted too much. I don't think it was really what he said. It was just how he said it. He's more direct. Some people, that's his personality. He's not Coach Prime, and I think people need to stop comparing him to him. Yeah. He doesn't curse. You can't compare him to a man who doesn't curse. That's not fair. I just think he reacted, and I think they were too reactive to it. And I think they could have definitely worked that out because they are a school. I went to HBCU. I went to Mississippi Valley State University for undergrad, and then I went to a private school for grad school. But I am from Chicago, and when I was down there, I was in support of I went to school in Mississippi, so I was in support of Jackson State, Valley, Alcorn. I didn't care. And I support, like, I'm an alumni. I donate to each school.
Yeah.
To this day. That's just because, I don't know, it's different for me. I had family from Mississippi and all of that. So I felt like they could have worked that out. I feel like he really could have helped their program. Not only the program, I'm thinking of the school. I think he could have helped the whole school because I think that's what Coach Prime was trying to do when he was at Jackson State. I think he was trying to help the whole school in its entirety. And I think some people saw it, but I think when he was on his way out, they kind of saw it at the last minute and was like, oh, that's what he's trying to do. Whoops. Because when you overreact and you think it's something that it's not, but then when that person steps away, you kind of really get to see like, oh, it wasn't like he wasn't trying to do this, he was actually trying to do this, but it's over with now.
Yeah, I appreciate you. We got some more callers though, but I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Now it's all interesting. We're just talking about Coach Ed Reed and his firing from Bethune-Cookman. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
What's going on, Jeff?
What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Art, man. St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis, man. But I'm.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind, Art?
Hey, man. Let me tell you something, man. A lot of people can point fingers, man. We can put the blame on everything, man. But if you keep hiding the hand that's doing the damage, only more damage is going to be happening, man. I don't care what HBCU you put out there or how you do it, man. If you don't handle it from the head down, it won't get fixed. And you got to understand, too, man, that a lot of these people are hiding their hands because why? They got their hand in somewhere they ain't supposed to have their hand. What you think about that?
No, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I think there's a time and a place for everything. And I think there's a time and a place for call things out. I think there's a time and a place to handle things in-house. I think you just have to make your best judgment when to handle things. And even if you're going to call things out, I think there's a certain level of professional decorum that you must have when doing that. That's my only thing. We got some more callers though, man, but I appreciate you calling in.
All right, but when you keep hiding your hand, man, somebody gonna have to bite it.
Yeah. Hey,
all right, bro. Thanks.
I get you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you calling in. No, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Stanley.
What's going on, Stanley? What's on your mind?
Man, I'm not surprised that he was fired.
Mm-hmm.
What I am surprised at is I finally graduated from an HBCU, which is Miles College, in 2000. But prior to that, I went to Tuskegee in 1987. My father passed, and I ended up going to Alabama A&M in 89.
Mm-hmm.
Got a baby, and had to go to the Army for a minute.
We got a bunch of callers out. I'm trying to. We got to land the plane though. Where are we going with this? I hate to cut you off like that, but
okay. My basic thing is this. I'm wondering, is the HBCU that I went to in the 80s and 90s the same as it is now? Like where it takes a week to register for a class, things like that, financial aid. I'm wondering how much is the HBCUs have the HBCUs progressed from back then to now, because all the problems that Dion and Ed have are the same problems that we had back in the day. It's inadequate for everybody, man, and that's all I got.
I got you, man. Appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
He was about to give us the life story, and I don't think I needed that one. We're real heavy in here, probably the deepest live that I've ever done. I just asked that you guys do one thing. Hit that like button for me, please, so to support the channel. That's all we need. It's easy support. On the count of three, let's all hit that like button. 1, 2, 3, like. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And we're going to get to some more of these calls. And then I got to get up out of here because I do got some things to do on Saturday. But I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We're in here real heavy. Ed Reed, fired by Bethune-Cookman. What's on your mind? You're on with Jeff.
Yes, this is Augusta Woodard. How you doing?
What's going on? What's on your mind, sir?
Well, I'm looking at one of your podcasts about Ed Reed firing.
Yes.
And I think everybody get the wrong picture. I was born in Dwight D. Eisenhower era.
Okay.
I was 1956.
Yes, sir.
And what I see now is individualistic people. If you look at the civil rights movement, everybody did it different ways. Even Muhammad Ali said that. The Black Panthers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, but they were at the same goal and they were unified. Now everybody's so divided. Everybody got an ego. Now, For instance, I like what Ice Cube said. He got money. He went to the top, but there's nothing left for him. So what you do when God bless you with that talent, you're supposed to reach, when you get through with your career, what you need to do is reach back and pull the race of your ethnic group up. So Deion Sanders started a great thing, but like he could have continued that. But I bet you right now, there are conversations at Colorado about taking him away from that environment instead of seeing him being successful in the HBCU environment. I went to St. Augustine University in Raleigh, North Carolina. I graduated there. And I done been on both sides. So,
yes, sir.
I'm just saying, for Ed Reed to add the dirty lunges, he should have rolled his sleeves up. Of course you're a Hall of Famer. But hey, the students, people, you're in another profession now. You're trying to help people. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what I think you're anticipating doing. You're helping your people rise. Roll your sleeves up. By you being a Hall of Famer, you will get fought.
I think we lost the caller. I think we lost him, but he was making some points. I'm not sure the direction he was trying to go, but I got you. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Rob.
What's on your mind? Rob?
Man, only thing on my mind is there's a lot of straddling fence to me, because wrong is wrong and right is right. That's how I'm really looking at it. And and a lot of people are just approaching this thing wrong. I think a lot of the stuff that they doing is right, but they using it at the same time as a distraction. And I just go back to that same thing, how you just said, I think
Talk to me. Hello? Oh, they hung up. I don't know what was going on with that. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
David.
What's going on? What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at.
Turn your computer down a little bit in the background, but yeah, we're listening.
Okay, so what was Sims doing all this time? Why did it take so long for Sims to get fired?
For who?
Coach Sims.
I don't know what
I never heard him saying anything about the campus, anything about nothing.
Oh, Coach Sims, Terry Sims. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they have different backgrounds. I think that's different. I mean, Coach Sims got fired because he wasn't winning. Ed got fired because he was very critical and did it in an unprofessional manner. But we gotta let you go, man. We can't. It's too loud in the background, and we got some more calls, but I can't. I don't know what was going on with that. Let's take. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Shay.
What's going on, Shay? What's on your mind?
Hi. So what I wanted to say, if the student body largely supported Ed, I think we, as listeners, because that's what a lot of folks are doing, listening to everything, they're not really there, should actually listen to them.
Yeah.
I agree. We tend to judge and prejudge what we're seeing online and what we're reading, but we haven't really talked to the actual students or the folks that are actually being impacted. We go on by what we're seeing, and it's just not fair. I don't think he should have been fired. I think they could have both sat down and revisited some things and got some things in order and say, Ed, this is how you should go about. But that's my opinion. Just want to say that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree with you. And I appreciate you calling in. I agree. And just going off that. That's why I said the timing was bad. If you want to get in here, first of all, thank you all. We're almost 1,000 deep, man. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Like this video, share this broadcast if you're enjoying what's going on. If you want to call in, there's the number on the screen, 727-731-8723. 727-731-8723. We're talking about Ed Reed. He's been relieved of his duties as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman football. This comes after he was very critical of the administration in the direction that he felt like they were going or the lack of direction that they had. He's very critical, but he did that a week ago. He's since apologized. He's since put out different videos of showing his impact that he's had on the campus. And also he had a recruiting weekend. This was a huge recruiting weekend for them. And they fired him in the middle of the recruiting weekend. He said in his live that he had players on planes arriving to Bethune today to potentially check out the campus and potentially commit to Ed Reed and what he's doing at Bethune. I did not like that at all. I did not like the way that kind of went down. What's going on? What's on your mind? You're on with Jeff.
Greg, regarding the firing of Coach Ed Reed.
What's on your mind, Greg? And thank you, Yo-Yo, for your donation.
Well, thank you. I've watched you several times, especially in the closing of Jackson State University's ending of 2022. You do a wonderful job. But my greatest concern is the fact that Ed led with passion. And what we just seen and what I witnessed on TV was beyond my imagination. Dion stepped in because that was a brother that was really passionate about the kids. And see, that means much more to me than anything. He was only trying to expound on the fact that a university of historical Black colleges that is at the shape and the level that it's in, that, maybe he was more passionate than he should have been. Maybe those that see that. But I was really, really taken back by the overwhelming response of people saying that he was too loud, too negative. I mean, some things need to be brought up. The negative needs to be brought up, and it's the truth and respect to it. But I am for Ed Reed. You know what? He did the right thing. Maybe he did not go about it and articulating it the way it needs to be, but sometimes your passion overcomes you. But I tell you one thing, our Black men and women mean more to me than sitting here in the foundation of trying to understand why he made a statement. We need to understand and get together and say, okay, what can we do better? We really need to do that, like now. That's my end of comment. God bless you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, Ed was emotional, man. He was really emotional about this decision that Bethune came to, and I think that's worth something. I don't know. What's going on? You're on with Jeff. Hello.
Yo, Jeff, what's up?
What's going on?
What's up?
What's on your mind?
Man, it's just crazy, man. Like I'm from Daytona, and I already knew, like, man, I don't even know if this gonna go well, because, like, I know Ed Reed gonna say what's on his mind. Like, just Bethune's terrible. Like, that is terrible the way they run that damn college. And so, like, I already knew, like, it might not go well. And so the fact that they fired this man in the middle of recruiting, like, you got kids coming in, like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like, bro, who gonna want to coach at Bethune after that? Like, because I was saying I would like to see more kids from Florida stay in Florida, but I can understand why some kids will want to leave Florida, especially there from Daytona. I can see why some kids may want to leave and go somewhere else. Like, you got a full ride, free education. Like, some of these kids so talented, they leave it after their sophomore year in college or junior year in college. I mean, stay for a complete 4 years. So, like, I can understand why some of them may want to escape. But, if you could get them in a healthy environment and keep them in Florida, like, it would be nice. Like, look at that kid who played at Central, the quarterback. He's from Florida. Like, freaking, there's a lot of kids, from Florida that's somewhere else showcasing their talent.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to be too long, but, I just, I think it's crazy.
Yeah,
how they did it, Reed.
I got you, man. I appreciate you calling in, though, man. We got some more callers. Appreciate it, though.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. I mean, like I said, the timing is everything. Once again, man, we were in here real heavy. Be sure to hit that like button. Share this broadcast for anyone that you think may be interested in this conversation. We're having a conversation about Ed Reed. He's been relieved of his duties at Bethune-Cookman. This right here, if you're looking at the screen, is a statement of what Ed Reed put out today after being relieved of his duties. There was also a 15-minute Instagram live where he kind of went into more details of how athletic director, who is also the head basketball coach, Reggie Theus, wanted him to step down and kind of make it seem like it was a step down, like he's resigning. And Ed was adamant about saying that he is not resigning. This is not a resign. This is a force out. He's being forced out. On that same Instagram live, the last 4 or 5 minutes, Deion Sanders actually joined to share his to share his thoughts and his love for Ed Reed to him during that passionate moment with recruits. I mean, from what I've understand, this is from a coach that was there, a coach that was on the Ed Reed staff. There were 30 recruits and their families. They're on campus today. There were even more recruits and their families on the way to Bethune-Cookman. And all of that, they fire him in the middle of that. Reggie Theus, who is the athletic director, who also doubles as the basketball coach, which I think is a problem. I'm not going to let that go. That is a problem. I mean, they should have an AD and they should have a basketball coach. This is not high school. You have to run your organization, run your business like a proper business. And when you don't, you run into issues, especially when you're dealing with people like Ed Reed. Now, the way he handled it, it was wrong. He shouldn't have went on there bashing him like that. I think there was, with all there's a certain level of professional decorum, but two things can be right at the same time. He was wrong the way he handled it, but Bethune also must do better. They also must do better. So I'm going to get to a few more of your calls, and I got to get out of here, man, but I appreciate all of you joining. Be sure to hit that like button. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. My name is Yolanda, and I'm a graduate of a PWI and HBCU.
Yes, man. What's on your mind?
The same thing that happened at HBCU go on at PWIs also.
Absolutely.
Okay? I don't want everybody to think that HBCUs are different. This is a black thing. No. A lot of issues go on at both sets of universities. Second, most important thing is I'm sad that Ed Reed worked without a contract.
That's true.
Because that really left him in a very bad position. Because all that he's done already, all the money out of his pocket, that's on him, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I hate that he.
But I think he can live with that. I think he can live with that, Yolanda. I think the way he spoke in that live, he can.
No, he can live with that, but it's really sad because that lets you know he was working from the heart. He wasn't working just for money. That's hard work to do. You got football players picking up trash. Why? And at university, they knew these problems existed.
Yes.
The alumni knew it existed. The students there probably knew it existed. What change will come of this? And what other coach would want to take this reputation and go to an HBCU or any university? Let's just say any university. And you're there at ground zero. You don't have practice field. How do you start a successful program without the basics? And who's this athletic director? Because most of the time, ADs and head coaches have to be on the same page. They have to be.
Absolutely.
And who protected Ed Reed? Who is his AD? I am very disappointed in the AD because he should be protecting his coach. You went to Ed Reed. Ed Reed didn't come to you.
According to Ed Reed, the AD was the one who wanted him out. Like the Ed Reed is the one who forced him out. He called out Reggie Theus. He called out Reggie Theus by name. He actually used his name in that Instagram live.
And that probably means that he and Reggie had already been going back and forth already.
Without question. Without question. You're absolutely. We got some more calls, but I appreciate it, Miss Yolanda. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, you get off to a shaky start with your AD, chances are you're not going to last very long, and that's essentially what happened to Mr. Ed Reed, and that's unfortunate. What's going on? What's on your mind? You're on with Jeff.
Oh, man, I want to speak on this Ed Reed.
Talk to me.
Who's gonna hire him now?
That's a good
No
question.
school is gonna hire him, especially Miami. Ed Reed, he was a superstar in Miami.
Yes.
He put in the head coaching job at Miami. He donates money to Miami.
Yes.
They still using his name to recruit, and they still won't make him head coach. When you have an aspiration of being a coach, you have to pull your sleeves up and go to work. It's gonna take money. It's gonna take sacrifice. I know this because I've been in the coaching a fraternity for 40 years. And I put more players in the NFL than Ed Reed and Deion Sanders. You have to go in there with 100% your mind made up. Your mind made up. This was what I want to know about these the coaches. If he would have came down there and said, "Oh, I got to pick up that trash. I got to fix the fence. I got to make a better locker room," it would have been okay. But he went down there and disgraced the school. What gave him a head coaching job? None of these schools would give him a head coaching job. He went down there and disgraced that school. I want to know what took Bethune the time to fire him. He should have been fired on the spot. He's not the coach, but he's not the coach
we
for
got
that
some
school.
more callers, but I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's all interesting. It's all interesting. I just want to get these last few callers and I'm gonna get up out of here. What's going on, caller? What's on your mind? Hello. Well, we got him. Keep it moving. Once again, we're talking about Ed Reed. He has been relieved of his duties as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman football. Be sure as you come in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. We're going to have more conversations about this in the days and weeks upcoming. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, this is Michael from ATL. How's it going, Jeff?
What's going on, Michael? What's on your mind?
Hey, look here, man. I got a couple things. I'm kind of laughing right now about this Ed Reed situation. I got to laugh for a minute because it burns me up. Number one, the brother got fired for snitching. Okay. All right. Then number two, I want these people to stop comparing him and Coach Prime. Okay, I'm an old ball player too, and I'm that type of dog. Okay, Coach Prime and Ed Reed are two type of different dogs. Ed Reed is that dog you unleash, and that's why they hired him. You don't think that Bethune-Cookman knew what type of man he was when they hired him?
I would hope so.
Exactly. Exactly. And that same passion they hired him for, that same passion he was as a coach. And to teach these kids, these young men to become boys, these boys become men, it's the same passion he showed right there. Okay, so you can't tell him to cut it off on one end, and you want to turn it back on the other end. You can't. It doesn't work that way. That man's not wired like that.
That's a valid point. I appreciate you calling in, man. Good points. Appreciate
it. Hey, one more thing.
Yeah, talk to me.
Don't think that there's other issues or many issues that step under the rug in PWIs, because it is. There's many of them. It's just not put up in the forefront.
Absolutely.
Okay, believe that.
Yeah, you're right about that. Appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it.
But, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, we got a few more callers. Then I'm gonna get up out of here. But this Ed Reed thing is huge. What's going on? What's on your mind?
My name is Kelvin Hampton.
What's going on, Kelvin? What's on your mind?
All right. Listen, you remember the guy who tried to give you his history? You cut him out, and he was identifying the problem that was going on in the 80s, and they still going on.
Yeah, I was just trying to get him to land his plane. I really wasn't trying to cut him off, but what go for it.
But the problem is, it's the same thing in 1980 they doing today. Now, whose problem is that? Listen to the students. It's the same. My nephew could not get in Florida A&M. You know why? They couldn't keep up with the paperwork. They wouldn't return the call. But he went to the University of Florida in 1 week, got in. They enrolled 35,000 students quicker than Florida A&M enrolled 4,000 students. Who follows that? Is it the money? Is it a money problem or is it an administration problem?
No, I mean, it's
we can't keep talking about this. Yes, the money ain't there, but you got what you got. You got to do the best with what you got, and you ain't doing that, brother.
Hey.
That's it.
Hey, well, I appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate it. Be sure to call again. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot, and I want to read this statement from Ed Reed before we get up out of here. This was put out by Ed Reed. It's put together by he and his team. It says Bethune-Cookman University has been working with my legal team to craft a contract terms with the language and resources we knew were needed to build a successful football program. It's my desire to not only coach football, but to be an agent of change, and most people just talk about being. However, after weeks of negotiations, I've been informed that the university won't be ratifying my contract and won't make good on the agreement we had in principle, which had provisions and resources best needed to support the student athlete. I was committed to coaching and cultivating a relationship with the university, players, community, and the fans. It is extremely disappointing this won't be happening. Thank you to those who share my vision and believe that greatness can be achieved with the right environment and surroundings. Although we couldn't make things work at BCU, the goal and vision are still the same. We serve to lead and lead to serve. We will continue with our pillars: respect, educate, empower, and dream. Our efforts will remain about the kids through our foundation via the health and wellness of programs, camps, and fundraising. We won't stop changing lives for the better. As we've done for over 20 years. I hate that this went down like this from Bethune. I do know that Ed brought a lot of this on himself, but I do think someone's going to give Ed Reed a call. Someone is going to give Ed Reed a chance. Someone is going to allow Ed Reed to run his organization, run their program the way he wants to run it. I don't think this is the end of Ed Reed. I do think this reflects badly on both Ed and Bethune. I think Bethune is going to suffer drastically because of this. I don't know if Bethune-Cookman will win a football game. I saw my boy HBCU Spotlight put this out there. He said 0-12. I could very much see Bethune going 0-12. I think they're going to have a massive exodus from their program because of this. I think that a lot of things that were going to come to Bethune is now paused and may not ever come. And this is just a bad look all the way around. It is just not good. I think it's going to be hard for Ed to bounce back from this, but it's going to be harder for Bethune to bounce back. This is going to do more damage to Bethune than it does for Ed. And in the end, is that what you want if you're Bethune? If this is going to do more damage to your university, to your football program, more than it does to Ed Reed Reed's going to be fine. Ed Reed's he's a Hall of Famer. He's got a gold jacket. Someone's going to give him an opportunity, whether they should or not. They're going to do it after this. Someone is. It may be another HBCU. And so that's why and the reason why I don't like the way Bethune handled it, because if you fire him right after the second live, nobody has an issue with you. But firing him during the middle of a recruiting weekend, probably the biggest recruiting weekend that you've had in your schools in the last 10 years of your school, that is not how you do business. How Ed did it on the Instagram live, at the two lives, that's not how you do business. But you don't fight fire with fire. You don't. He stabs you in the back. You don't go back and stab him in the back. That should have been a learning moment. To fire him in the middle of a recruiting weekend shows bad judgment on Bethune-Cookman, in my opinion. And I think it's going to be hard to get someone of high substance to come in there and take that job because of this. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're going to follow along with this as this continues to play out. We're going to follow along with this. If you didn't want Ed Reed, you should have fired him after that second live. You don't wait a week. You don't wait until he's got 30 recruits and their families. You don't wait as he's setting up other visits to other recruits or landing in Daytona Beach to fire him. You fire him as soon as he makes the statement, say, hey, we decided that it ain't going to work. You don't wait until you get all of these people on your campus to make this move. I didn't like that. That is going to hurt your program more than it hurts Ed Reed. Ed Reed's going to bounce back from this. Whether some people put in the chat, they think he'll be on the next flight to Colorado to be on that staff. I think another HBCU, possibly in the SWAC, if another job pops open next year or in the MEAC next year or whatever during the hiring cycle, somebody's going to give him a chance. And that's why I think, but Ed didn't do himself. He did himself a disservice hopping on those lives, talking bad about Bethune. He did himself a disservice by doing that. I'm not excusing that. But I'm also not excusing Bethune's part that they played in this as well, and that is why it's going to be interesting to see how all of this kind of unfolds. All of this kind of goes down. All of this kind of works out. But subscribe right here as we follow along, right, to all of these things. Yeah, do what they say. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to be a supporter, you can become a member. We do all kinds of things. We cover HBCUs in the SWAC right here on Jeff Lightsy Jr., Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Thank you guys so much. She loves these. Shout out to my girl Timona. She says she don't think nobody gonna hire him. I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I think his name is still Ed Reed. I think somebody will still give him a chance. I think if an institution is struggling and they know he has resources that he can come in and help, I think they give him a chance. That's just my thoughts, but maybe they don't. Maybe he shot himself in the foot too by kind of going out that way. I guess we will have to wait and see how all of this plays out. This was the biggest live we've ever done, so shout out to you. Give yourself a digital round of applause for making this the biggest live that I've ever done. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you guys, and subscribe for more content. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JLightsy7, Twitter, Instagram at JLightsy7. Thank you guys. Hit that like button on your way out, and I will see you next time. Peace.